All right, everyone, welcome again. In this lesson, we will want to build the hero section. But before we do that, let me briefly explain how the content will be structured in Webflow. So if we look at this hero section, we can see that we have like a parent container, which is the section itself. Then inside of it, there is another container that holds the image and the text and button all together. And then there is another container that holds the text and the buttons together, and another container that holds the text together, then another container that holds the button together. So everything is going to be a div nested inside a div, nested inside a div to create a structure hero section. All right. So this is the breakdown of what the box model will look like. The section that takes up the full width of the screen, and then a container that is centered inside of the section, then a div that holds up the image. But this time around, the image and the text are going to be placed inside the two-column grid. So right here is going to be a grid holding an image and then another grid holding the text and the buttons together. Then inside of this grid, we're going to have a div that holds up the text all together and another div that holds up the buttons together. All right. So that's simply how we're going to structure the page. So without further ado, let's get into it. Right now we're on Webflow and we want to create a section. To do that, I'm going to select the body right from the bottom nav right here. You can select the body right from here, or you go into the navigator and select the body. Either way, is the body selected. Let me change this to 1440. Okay. Now, the next thing I want to do is add a section into this. So by clicking Ctrl-E on my keyboard, I'll type in section. Now the section is taking up the full width of the screen. Call this section. Now let's give it a top and bottom padding. To do that, let's head over to Figma to check the padding. All right, right here we have a padding of 64 top and bottom, and this is actually set to bottom, so we don't need padding for the left and right just the top and bottom because the content are going to be centered inside of a container. All right, so right here I'll give this 64. Next is to add a container. So when I add a container, I'm clicking Control-V, and type of container. The next thing we want to do is give it a class. I'll call this rule container. Let's make it a grid. Two-column grid. At the moment, if we click on this edit grid icon, you can see we have two columns, two rows by default. That's the default grid we get when we make a container or div or any other elements that we can apply grid to. Once we make it a grid, we get a 2x2 column row grid and default. But right now, we just need 2 columns and 1 row. So I'm going to delete 1 row. And then we have it. The next thing is to resize this grid appropriately to fit our image and text accordingly. All right. So let me head on to Figma to check the size of the image, and then come back here to apply that. So if we look at this image, we have the width set to 222 pixels and the height set to 274. So heading on to Webflow, I'm going to manually set this to a minimum and maximum height 222 pixels, and then the maximum height 222 pixels, not together. FR is the fraction, a percentage of this portion in relative to the whole, right? That's what the FR means. It means fraction. But in this case, we don't want to use a fraction. We want to use pixels. So we're setting the minimum and maximum column size to 222 pixels. And then this will remain a pattern. Okay. Next, we're going to add the image. So I'm going to drag the image right inside of this. Then I'm going to manually set it. So now that it's placed, I'm going to set the height of this image to 274. So right here, I'm going to come over here, then take this away. So I'll come over here and set it for 272 pixels and 274. Set the height to 274 pixels. Now we can see it looks cute. We want it to appear well fitting inside of the grid. So I'll come right down here where we have this fit and select it to cover. Just like so. Now the next step is to give it a border radius. So I'll head on to Figma to check the size. It's set to 16. We have the border radius set to 16. The next thing I want to check is the spacing between these two elements. It's set to auto. You need to apply 16 pixel border radius. I give it 16 pixel. And then I'm going to click on the grid and apply 56 pixel padding. That's the gap between the image and the text. Now let's add our text. If you look at this, we have the font set to Quando. That's for our heading. All right. We have it set to Quando 32 pixel. And then we have this set to Quando actual 24 pixel. So right inside of this video container, I'm going to add a div. Remember, a div is going to hold up our text. So I'm going to add a div first. To do that, I click Ctrl D, div, and then add a div inside of that. Let's call this text box. Always next. Now inside of this, I'm going to add a heading. And would say hello. Now, very student. So they say, let's get money and then give it, then include the and emoji to that. What so? The next thing we want to get is set the style and the heading. So basically change this fair. Going to get sign. Set the font to Quando. But change the font to Panay and not. The next thing I want to do is give it the class. For this heading, may for the class ID. So let's remove the class and give it heading on like in the development. So the next thing we want to do is add the second heading. I'll click the text box and click Continue in, and then I click heading. Now I'm going to give it smaller heading, and we're just calling the class because I think the class is already, they have a class for that already. Like that. And then I'm going to change the text to your family. Now let's add the paragraph. I'm going to go ahead to copy the text. We have this set to 20 pixel font really, and then we have it regular. Now back here, I'm going to select paragraph. And then I'm going to replace the text with this. So now I'm going to set this to 20 pixel. Next, so increase the height. We have the aesthetic 32. Let's give it a 22 right here. Okay. Let's reduce it to 30 because it looks like there's a lot of space in between the two. Okay, now that we have that, let's give it a top padding 18. So let's give it a top margin of 12 itself. Now we have that set. Let's change the color to a lighter there. Give it equal 0, like so. Now I already created some styles, and that is why I can apply them easily. Moving on, we want to create our button. To do that, I'm going to have a B. We want to start with D. Let's call this button box. Now that we have that, I'm going to start creating the buttons inside of the box. Click Ctrl V and type it. Just like so. Now this is the button that Webflow already provided for us. We can style this and use it. Alright, but the limitation to this is that we won't be able to add an icon because it doesn't take an icon. But with our button style, we want to have a social image and text just like this. Right here, we want to have text and an icon right like this. So I'm going to remove this and we're going to create our button from scratch. Now, to create our button from scratch, I'm going to type in a link block. Like so. Right here, the first section icon is Figma, then you have linking, pingers, and linking. So I'll go right here and add the Figma height. So let me manually place it inside of the link block. So I'm going to manually place it inside the link section. Now I'm going to select the link block now, and we're going to add our text. So I'm going to type in text pixel, and then I'm going to call it the bloom. Now select the link block, select the link block, and display it as flex. Now we're going to give it a gap. Let's check the spacing and engagement. Have the spacing of 12 and then padding of 16, top and bottom, left and right. You know, have this set to 12. So to center. The next thing is to remove this link, that is the line beneath this text. We want to remove that. We're going to click on the text itself and head down to where we have the condition under typography. And I'm going to set that to 9. Okay. Now, it is set to none. The text block link is set to 9, but we'll still have that line showing. Now, what we want to do is click the link block because the text is still inside the link block. So it is adapting to the style of this link block. So what we're going to do is remove the style from the link block. So once we remove the style from the link block, we can get rid of that line. So right here, I'm going to remove that, and text is just fine. And the next thing is set the width and height for this link block. So I'll head on to Figma and then check the width and height. We have the width of 110 pixel, 110 pixel, and height of 28 pixel. So right here, we're going to set the width and height. We're going to set the width to be 1 pixel and 48 pixel. We're going to set it to center. Now let's give it a border width or down. And then the radius, well, let's check the radius to 12. And then we can copy this column. So let's make it strong. And let's change the color to this. I already created this as a style, so I'm just going to apply that right. One thing I want to do right now is to have the padding left and right. I'm going to hold down Alt, apply left and right padding on 16, just like so. Now we have our button created. I'm going to give it a class called the show button. Let's call it switch button. Next, I'm going to duplicate it and then display it to flex. Let's check the gap between the buttons. 20. So I'm going to fix 20. And then it's too much, and we leave it at 16. Now the next thing we want to do is check the color and style for this link. This is set to 14 semi-bold. Right here is already set to 14. We give it semi-bold and then change the color to primary color. Like so. Now let's replace the rest of the image. Down linking. Now record this linking. So we're going to make this PM. Then code it for that. And then I'm going to change this to your plan. And change the text as well. If you look at the buttons, you'll see that the text inside of it and this image are not scaling appropriately with the size of the buttons. As the text gets longer, the button looks fixed. The size of the button itself is fixed, so I'm going to remove that its size so that it scales appropriately as text is typed inside of it. So I'll delete that, or I'll rather just come here and reset it to auto. And so it looks better this way. Now, if you look at this text box, we have this space right down here where I want this button to be seated. I want this button right here. This button box to sit just at the bottom of the text box. To do that, I'm going to set the button text. I'm going to set this box, the button box position to absolute, and then change the position to bottom, like so. If we can see that the moment I click this button, it just came right down to the bottom of the main body page. But that's not what we want. We want it to sit right here at the bottom of this text box, within this text box. So to do that, I'm going to change the position of the text box from static to relative. So this button is relative to this text box. Now that is pretty much it. Let's change this to 14 point to see how this looks to a standard breakpoint. Perfect. Let's make it 1920. Perfect. The one thing we want to do to ensure that this container is always centered inside of any breakpoint is to come right here where we have spacing and click this. And now our container will always be centered on any breakpoint. So let's preview this. Now this looks pretty much good. And that's about it, guys. Thank you for sticking to the end. In the next lesson, we're going to make this responsive. All right? So I'll see you in the next lesson. Bye. Okay, guys, welcome again. In this lesson, we want to make the hero section responsive. Now to do that, I'm going to head onto tablet. This is the way our design is going to be rendered in tablet, just like so. Now let's head over to Figma to check how the design looks. Look at the tablet design. You can see that we have the text at the top And then we have the image right here at the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead, click on the section, and set the top and bottom padding to 48. And then reduce this to 22. The next thing we want to do is make this text stay at the top and then bring this image to the bottom of it. To do that, I'm going to click on this little container. We're going to reduce the column to 1. And now the next thing I will do is change the display to flex, change the direction to vertical. And now I'm going to change the direction to column reverse. It's a single column, so I'm going to make the column reverse by clicking this. Next, I'm going to remove the graph. And then I'm going to increase the height of this text box. Just something to 10. More let's keep it to 50, like that. Next, I'm going to give the text the bottom margin of 56. Now, the next thing I want to do is make this image 100% width. Like so. Now, let's check the height of it. 504 pixels. Let's go ahead to apply that. 410, like so. And this is how the design is going to link on tablet. Now, moving on to mobile landscape. It looks pretty fine. But one thing I want to do right here is to reduce the padding. So maybe 20. And 20 at right. And that looks okay. Heading on to mobile portrait. Okay, so let's increase the height of the text box from 250 pixels to maybe 500 pixels. That's a lot, so let's make it 100. Okay, that's just name. Let's make it 480. Okay, that's much better. Now we can reduce this to the font size to 16. Like so, and then their height to 4 pixels. Well, let's give it a 15. Okay, that looks better. Let's confirm the size of this and this in Figma. This is still 32, while this is still 20. So this is 20 now, and this thing is 32. Well, to change this, I'm going to give this a combo class. We'll call this mobile view. Then we're going to give it 42. Again, let's make this, give it a combo class as well. And then make it 20. I'll keep it 15. Okay. Now let's reduce this to 300. Right, so now let's check the image. Okay, before we do that, let's adjust the position of this button. Let's make it wrap. Then still going to increase the text box height again to 342. Let's make it 350 this time. Or let's make it 317. Good, that's fine. Now what we want to do now is we want the buttons to have the same height as stretch to fit inside of this box. Now to do that, I'm just going to select the social button and then make the flex grow if possible. The next thing is to resize the image. So I'm going to check the image size. Right here we have the height set to 315. So let's change that. One thing I want to do is change the mobile breakpoint from 20 to 16. Okay. Now let's preview. Good. And this is how our design is going to look on the down. Body foot. And mobile landscape. My tab length. And on the text. My, text it's minutes, 18 months. Good. Okay. All right. So that's about it for this lesson, guys. Thanks for sticking to the end. And the next lesson, we're going to build out the inner section. I'll see you there. In this lesson, we want to add a simple over effect to the social buttons, all right? So we just want to add a simple, nice, bright color to this line such that when you hover on it, it's going to change its color, all right? So to do that, I'm going to select the social button. And then right here where we have the class name, I'm going to select this little drop down menu right here. And then check the states, the over states, right? Now it's on hover. And on hover, we want to apply a different color to the border width. Now to do that, I'm just going to head on to where we have color. Click on this. And then give it a red. Just like so. And then hover, we get that feel, right? So when I hover on this button, we can see it changes in color. Moving back to the non-states, let's preview this and see how it looks. Cool. All right. One thing I'd like to also add right here is a smooth transition, because right now it's just changing in colors so quickly. There isn't any font transition to this. So I will apply a simple transition. So let's go back. And then whilst just selecting the social button, I'll head down to where we have transition right here. And then click the plus icon. And I want to select the type. So I'm adding a transition to the border. And then I'm going to select the ease into ease out quad. Like so. Next thing, I'm going to increase the duration to 300 milliseconds. Like that. And now when we preview one more time, yeah, that's much better, smooth and looking really cool. All right, guys, that's it for this lesson. I'll see you in the next lesson. Bye. Okay, guys, let's build out the project section. Now, right here, I'm going to select the body. I have the body selected, and inside of it, I'm going to add a section. Now we have a section. Let's give it a class section. So we're going to reuse the already created section class. The next thing I want to do now is to add container inside of the section. Control V. And I'm going to call this project container, right? Okay, now that we have that, let's add in the heading. So Control V. Let's give it heading 1. And then let's call this project. Let's give it a class heading 32 pixel, like so. Now let's look at the next thing that we need to do. Next, we're going to add a div and then set the display as grid that has 1 column and 3 rows. So go to 3 projects. So right here, I'm going to select the container and then add a div. I'm going to call this project box. And right now I'm going to make this project box display as grid. And now I'm going to reduce the color to 1 and then 3 rows. Like so. Now I'll click done. And then I'm going to add a div inside of it. And then I'm going to call this project 1. Or rather, let's just call it projects. Now let's apply some padding around the project div. I'll head into Figma to check. We have 24 left and right, and also 24 top and bottom. So I'm going to apply that. Right here, I'm going to apply 24 top and bottom, left and right. Okay, to do that equally, just hold down Shift and then drag. Right. So now that we have that, I'm going to add our image. But before we add our image, let's give it a border and then give it a width and then a radius as well. Or head on to Figma to check for all of those styles. Right here, we have a border stroke of 1, and then I'm going to copy this color to apply it. And then a radius of 16 right here. So let's head on to Webflow to apply all of that. So I'm going to go ahead to where we have the border and give it a radius of 16. Give it a width of 1. And then change the color to this color. And then I'm going to add the color to the list of color variables. I'm going to call this gray 3. Now that we have that set, let's bring in our image. Click right here I'll click right here in the asset panel and then drag the first image, which is this one, inside of it. Head on to the navigator and drag it inside of the project. Let's now click out. Let's make the image width 100%. All right, so it fits inside of the div. Let's set the height. So the height of the image is 445 pixels, 445 pixels, and then a radius of 16. Let's make this image 445 pixels. And then give it a radius of 16. There's 16 as well. Let's find out the spacing between this project and the heading. And then we have the spacing set to 32 pixels. Let's keep this a top margin at 32 pixels. And so, and now you want to add a text inside of this project div. Let's check the next thing we need to add right here. Okay, so we have like a logo. So right here we have this font for the logo, that's archival. And then we have title and subtitle of the project. So right here I'm going to copy this and add a heading. Let's give it heading. Let's give it heading 3, like so. And then I'm going to give this private. Okay, so the font style for this logo type in Figma is archival. But in our project, we do not have archival installed. There are different ways we go about this. One is we can decide to use a very close related font and don't worry about installing fonts. Or we can just install the fonts and then use it right there. So I'll try to install the font and then use it. To do that, I'll wait on to this case and then go to site setting. I'm going to add on to fonts. And then right here, I'm going to add a font. And right here, I'm going to just select a Google font. It's a Google font, so I'm going to select it right here. Archival. And then let's select, let's check the width. Let's check the width of the font in Figma. So we have it as extra bold. Extra bold is about this size. We have regular, semi-bold, bold. Extra bold is around this. Okay, let's just select this. So width, style, and then we can check for a perfect one. Okay. All right, cool. So let's add font. Now we have archival installed. I'm going to add back to all sites. Open as our portfolio. And then I'm going to change this to, let's rename the class and call this project logo. Call this project logo. And then I'm going to give it a width of archival. Give it archival. And then change the width to printing dry. Oh, let's make it 700. No, let's make it 800. 800 like so. Let's check the font size as well. We have it set to 27.7. So I'm just going to give it 27. Yep, so let's give it a 27. Like so. Now let's make this image cover. So I'm going to change it from fill to cover. Like so, because when it was fill, it looks cute, but when it's covered, it looks much more better. So I'm going to give it cover. And then the next thing I want to do right now is check the space between the logo and the image. So right here, the spacing between these two elements is 48. So I'm going to apply 48 pixel margin in Webflow. So right here, I'm going to give it a top margin, the 48 pixel, like so. I'm going to head on to Figma and copy the title. We have it set to 23 pixel regular. So right here, I'll select the project and add embedding. And then give it as in gray or wall. And then I'm going to type that in. I'll call this tagging 22 pixel. Now I'm going to change this to Warranty. Let's change the font color to primary color. I'm not sure if it's primary color, but we're going to check that out. Then I'll change the font size to 22 pixel. Let's check for the color. Change to primary color. Now let's copy the subtitle. Keep this in primary color, like so. And now I want to add a paragraph. And then place this right here. Let's check for the font size. We have it set to 18 medium. So I'm going to change it to 18. Send the width to medium. And now I'm going to change this to 0. So now let's check the spacing between the logo and the titles. I'll head back to Figma. They have 24 pixel gap between the logo and the titles. So I'm going to apply that immediately. So right here, I'll select the logo and give it a margin, a bottom margin of 24 pixel. Next, we're going to check for the spacing between the main title and the subtitle. If you look at this, you can see that we have a space. That's the gap between these two text. You have it as 10. So I'll select this and then give it a bottom margin. Oh, it already has a bottom margin here. So by default, headings have bottom margin and top margin of 10 pixels. So you don't need to add that. And then for paragraph, it's usually have a bottom margin of 10 pixels. But because we don't need that, I'm going to remove this. And now our project is ready. Now, the next thing I want to do is to duplicate this. So I'm going to duplicate this 2 times, like so. Let me make this 40 pixel, see how it looks. Next, I'm going to change this image. We'll place this with this. And we'll replace this with this. Okay, so now that we have this ready, the one last thing we're going to do is to change the titles. So I'll head over to Figma, copy this, copy that, and then change it. Maybe subtitle, and then change that. And for the last project, let's go ahead and copy this. Change the median. And then change the subtitle. Okay, let's preview this and see how it looks. Nice. Right, so we're done working on a project. Let's preview this in 1920. So this is how our portfolio is going to look on a 1920 pixel screen. And this is how it's going to look. This is how it's going to look on a 40 pixel screen. All right. And so that's about it, guys. In the next lesson, we're going to make the project section responsive. I'll see you there. Fine. We want to make this project section responsive. And to do that, I'm going to select the tablet breakpoint. Right there, we can see that our project scales appropriately, but nonetheless, we still want to make it fit perfectly on a tablet. Now, already have it as 48. Why? Because we already have a section that we created initially when we were designing when we were building the hero section. So we already, set all of these tiles. So by default, those tiles also apply to the project settings. Why? Because we're reusing the section class. So we already have the padding set. The only thing we can do right now is to adjust the font size. So right here, we have this set to still 27. And right now we have this set to 22 and this set to 18. So this is 22 and we have this as 18. Right, so the only thing we might want to do right here is to adjust the height in this text so that it doesn't look too close to each other. So we might want to give it a height of 28. Okay, moving on to mobile landscape. Right, so for mobile landscape now, what we can do is we would reduce the project title. So I'm going to make this 24. I'm going to keep it a combo class window for this project title. I'm going to change the weight to 24. Call this project title. Okay, we already created a project title, so I'll hold on back and change that. We made this a project title. Let's rename it to project heading so that we can have a good naming conversion. The project heading, and then let's make this project title. And now I'm going to change this to 16. Well, that makes which is small. Let's give it a 20. Okay, period. And now I'm going to apply the same style to this. I'm going to apply the same class to this project title. And then I'm going to give this same class and call this project title. Yeah, so good. Also, let's reduce this a little bit. We have 18, let's make it 16. Let's call this, let's give it a combo class and call it project subtitle. Then change the size to 16. And from there, change this to 16 as well, or give it a plus. And then give this combo class as well. All right, good. One last thing I want to do is check the size of the image for mobile. Right here, we have the height set to 236 pixels. So let's give it that. So right here, I'm going to give this project image. Let's give it a class. I'll call this project image. So let's give it a height of 236. And so, and then we can reduce this. Let's reduce this to 33. And then reduce this to 20. And now let's preview this on mobile portraits. All right. So this is how it looks on mobile portrait. One thing we want to do is reduce the padding and then change that to 16. Hold down shift and change it to 16 more. So here we go. We have our project sets. Now I want to reduce the spacing between these two elements. So let's make that 24. All right. I think I would like to make it 16 in Webflow. Because I think 24 looks too much. So 16 looks okay. All right. And that's it, guys. Let's preview this. And this is how project is and respond how different frequencies. Okay. One thing you might need to adjust right here. We still have it set to 48. I'll set that to 14. Hold down option or alt key, and then set this to 40. That's about it, guys. We've made our project section responsive. In the next lesson, we're going to add an hover effect to the project card. I'll see you there. Bye. All right, guys, we want to add some cool interactions to this project section, such that when you hover on the project card, it sort of pop up a little bit and then the color changes, right? So let's do that. To do that, I'm going to come over to where we have the interaction section while selecting this card, all right? And then if you look at this, you can see that we have two types of interaction. We have element trigger and page trigger. Okay, so we want to select the element trigger. We want to select the plus, and then we want to click mouse over. That is when you hover on it, something should happen, all right? So I'll click mouse over. And now we want to select an action for when you hover on it, and then when you hover out. If you look at this, we have two different states, that is on hover and on hover out. We're going to select an action for when you hover, that's when you're on hover, and then when you hover out. Okay, so now let's select an action. Right here, we have a couple of actions that we can select for. We have fade, we have slide, we have plenty of actions that we can select from. But in our case, we want to create a custom animation. So I'm going to start an animation. And then right here, I'm going to click the plus icon. And then I'm going to name this animation of overhead. Like that. And then I'm going to click the plus. to set an action. So on hovering, I want this card to scale. We want it to scale up, right? We want it to scale up a little bit. And right here is some of the settings that we want to apply. So we will keep the duration as 0.5 seconds, change the ease in to ease out quad. And then we want it to scale from 1% to 1.02%. That is 0.02% bigger than 1. All right. So this for the Y and X axis, we want the both axes to scale 0.2% more than 1, more than the initial state. Yes, I think that's going to be all that we're going to set right here. We can play to see how that looks. We can see. So that's 0.5 duration. Okay. So another thing I want to do is to change this text color on hover. So on hover, I want this text color to change. All right. So what we can do is I'm going to add another action. I'm going to select text color. Right here is selecting the project, okay? Because that's what we have right here by default. So by default, it's going to pick up the project again. So what I can do in this case now is to change the target because we want the text to change color. So I'm going to select change target, and then I'm going to select the heading. And then the next thing I want to do is I want to change the color to red. Set the easing to ease out quad. Now, one more thing is I want to add this to be inside of this project so they happen at the same time. The project interaction and the heading are going to happen at the same time. And that's what the setting right here is for. So start with previous action. If I select after previous action, it's going to come out of this project and start after project have completed its interaction. But in this case, we want it to start with the project. We want these two interactions to happen at the same time. And that's why I'm going to select with previous action. So it is embedded inside of this, inside of project. And now they are both together. All right. And that's it for our over in interaction. Now I'm going to save this. And then the next thing I want to do is I want to also create an interaction for over out. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select an action. I'm going to start animation because of course we're creating a custom animation. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this. And then I'm going to go into this. The reason why I duplicated this is because we already have the interaction set here. We just want to take everything back to the initial state so we don't have to create from scratch. So that's the reason why I duplicated this. Now I'm going to edit this now. I'm going to take this back to 1 for its initial state. And then I'm going to select heading and then change the color back to primary. So on over out, we want it to go back to its initial state. And that's it. Right? Now I'm going to save this. And then on hover out, we want this. Okay, one thing I want to do is change the text to over out. Okay, and I'll save that. And now on over out, we selected this. Now on over in, we've selected this. Now the last thing we want to do is we want this interaction to affect the class. Right now, it is set to element, that is, it's going to affect just this element. But once I select it to trigger class, it's going to trigger all of the elements that has this class, that is this element, and the last card right here. So that interaction is going to happen on all 3 cards. Okay. So now that we have that, let's go ahead and try that out. Let's play and see what happened. You can see what happened. Yes, that is 1v1. And if we overrun this as well, we can see the cool and fun interaction that we just created. And that's about it, guys. That's one way to add interaction to your project. There are other ways that you can create smooth and really cool interactions in Webflow. And we're going to be getting to some other interactions in a bit. In this lesson, we want to build out the testimonial section. Without further ado, let's go ahead to build this out in Webflow. The first thing we want to do is create a section. So I'm going to select the body, and I'm going to add a section. I'm going to give it a class called section. I'm going to select the existing class. Now that we have that, I'm going to add in a container inside of that. Okay. The next thing I want to do is keep this a class and call this testimonial container. Now let's go ahead to check the background and some of the padding settings in Figma. Right here we have this background set to this, so I'm going to copy that. And then right here we have 48 left and right and 40 top and bottom. And then we have a corner radius of 12 pixels. So let's go ahead to apply that. So right here, I'm going to give it a background of this color. Okay. Then I'm going to make this a variable. I'm going to call this grade 3. Grade 3. Let's see. Next thing I want to do is apply some padding. Right here, I'm going to go over to where we have spacing. I'm going to apply left and right padding. I'll hold that option and apply left and right padding of 48 pixels. And then top and bottom padding of 40 pixels. Like so. Next, I'm going to give it a border radius of 12. Let me give it a radius of 12 pixels. The next thing I want to do is, so I want to bring in the quote, the text, and then this. So right here in Webflow, I already have the quote in the asset panel. So I'm just going to click right here and drag in the quote and drop it inside of this place. You don't need any settings, it's just fine. The next thing I want to do is select this container and give it a class testimonial container. So I'm going to call this testimonial container, like so. Let's add paragraphs. So I'm going to add a paragraph inside of this container, call it paragraph. And then I'll drop that in there. And let's go ahead to bring in the text. So I'm going to hold that command to select the text. Then copy it, and I'm going to paste it in here. Let's check for the size of the text. Right here we have it set to 24 regular and then primary color. So let's give this 24. Click it 24. Give it a color of primary color. Now let's keep a height of 44 pixels. I think that's a lot. Let's make it 40. I think that's much better. Now let's reduce the text to 20 pixels. Let's make it number 2. Good. And then we can make this 38. All right. I think this is much better. Let's go ahead and add AD. And inside of this, I'm going to add an edit. You got to give it a grid. Let's select all. And then we're going to call this Mike Johnson. Let's just copy that. Whilst in height is set to 20, bold, railway. Maybe now let's paste that. Let's set that to 20. Okay. Let's select the plenty. Is that bold? Real away. And then let's change the color to primary. Now let's select the date again. Let's call this testifier. Yeah, in lack of a better word, let's leave it like that. Now let's go inside of this div now and add another text block. The text block. Let's go ahead and copy this. This is set to 16. Let's paste that here. Now we're going to set that to 16. We're going to give it a class of paragraph. And let's go 16 pixel. Then let's change the color to base 0. And then let's give this 20 pixel. Let's call this grading underscore 20 pixel. Oh, what's that? Go back. We'll call this underscore 20 pixel. Now the next thing we want to do now is add some spacing, that is gap, start from gap between this grid elements right here. If we come right here and select this in container, we can see that we have a gap of 40 pixels between the content inside of the container. So let's go ahead to apply that. Like I'm going to select this and display as flex. Let's display this as flex. All right, now that we have this, I'm going to make it align vertically. Now we have this looking weird like this. I'm going to select the image. And now we can see right here it's having a size of 100% max width. So that means it should take up the entire width of the container, and that's not what we want. So I'm going to use that and a little bit of 44 pixel because that's the original size of this code. So I'm going to change this percentage to pixel. I'm going to give it 44 pixel, like so. Now I'm going to select the container and then give it a gap of 40 pixel, like so. That's it, guys. That's our testimonial block. So let's preview this. You see, right there, we can see our testimonial block. That's the way we are designed. Okay, and so that's about it, guys. That's all for this lesson. In the next lesson, we're going to make this section. Yes, that's the testimonial section. We're going to make it responsive. I'll see you there. Bye.